You're watching Capital City Sunday.
Democratic Attorney General Josh Kaul filed charges against 3 of former President Donald Trump's associates accused of coordinating the 2020 fake elector scheme in Wisconsin. Kaul filed the charges through the Dane County Circuit Court against 2 of former President Donald Trump's attorneys, Kenneth Chesebro and James Trupus, and Michael Roman, a former aide to Trump. They are all charged with felony conspiracy to forge a certificate of electoral votes from individuals who were not appointed electors in Wisconsin. Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Arizona have brought charges against groups of fake electors who falsely certified former President Donald Trump won those states during the 2020 presidential election. Wisconsin is the latest state to file charges against Republicans who participated in that scheme. Now, Democratic Attorney General Josh Kaul did not immediately respond to questions on whether he plans to bring charges against the 10 Republicans that forged documents for Trump in Wisconsin. Joining me here on the show is UW-Madison Professor Mike Wagner. Thank you so much for being with me today.
My pleasure.
So, Mike, I want to talk a little bit about what took place in some of those states like Michigan who brought these charges against those slates of fake electors.
Well, so far there have been a variety of cases all across the country. In some places, some of the lawyers accused by Attorney General Kaul have already pled guilty to different kinds of charges. They're not the same charges that take place in Wisconsin, but they are all about the same 2020 U.S. presidential election and the role of trying to overturn election results when the free and fair election was one that was won by President Biden.
And so Attorney General Josh Kaul, he avoided questions for some time on whether there was an active investigation here in Wisconsin. Now that he has brought these charges against James Trupus, against Kenneth Chesebro and Mike Roman, what happens next?
Well, I imagine there'll be a set of conversations between the Attorney General, those gentlemen's attorneys. They'll be ready for a court case, I believe, in September. It might be the first time that they get in front of a judge. And so it's possible that they'll settle. Many of these lawsuits are settled. The civil lawsuit that was filed against the fake electors in Wisconsin was settled. That was a case that was brought forth by Law Forward. And so it could be that something like that happens. It could be that it proceeds to discovery. It could go to trial. It's all really up in the air.
Kaul did not bring charges against the 10 Republicans who acted as fake electors in Wisconsin. That's something that has happened in other states. Why do you think he took this route?
It could be that there'll be charges coming down the road. And it could be that machinations of this particular set of charges would lead to that. And so it's hard to know exactly why. Maybe it's the case that the Attorney General doesn't feel as though there's a case to be made at the state level against the actual 10 fake electors who admitted that they signed a document, trying to make Donald Trump the winner in Wisconsin when they knew that he wasn't. And it could be that what's happening now is the beginning of a longer process. The Attorney General's been pretty methodical and pretty under the radar, and so I wouldn't want to speculate about his motives.
Republicans like Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson have came forward to say that this filing is an effort by Democrats to interfere with the election. In terms of this rhetoric, could this be concerning or have greater implications ahead of the election in November?
Well, I think that anytime a federal or state lawmaker, anytime an elected official tries to cast doubt on the judicial system, on the integrity of our elections, there are often negative consequences that come downstream when it comes to the public's confidence in elections, which is really the first bar you have to clear in a democracy, is we have to believe that who won the election is who won the election and that they should rightfully take office. And when we have some comments like Senator Johnson, who said something along the lines of that lawyers can no longer advise clients. Well, lawyers can't advise clients to do things that are illegal. And so this is a different issue, I think, than the senator is making it into being.
The integrity of our elections, the role that candidates like former President Donald Trump played, the legality behind some of the actions that took shape in the 2020 presidential election, how has that impacted the morale of voters across the nation?
Research that we've done in Wisconsin since 2018 shows that voters are getting increasingly exhausted and overwhelmed by the volume of news about these topics. Almost all Democrats and most Republicans think that Joe Biden is a legitimate winner of the election. But there's a number of Republicans who don't. And this set of legal cases, both the felony convictions against the president, the ongoing indictments against the president, these false elector lawsuits in a bunch of states, have gone on for years, and they're exhausting. And some people say, gosh, it's just been so long. And look, I get it. You know, people would say this has just gone on so long, let's be done with it. But in a democracy, we have a set of rules, and it's important to follow the process to understand who broke rules, who did not, what are the consequences for breaking those rules, and what does all of that have to do with someone potentially trying to circumvent the rules of an election for the highest office in the land.
Mike Wagner, UW-Madison Professor, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
My pleasure.